Well, happy Saturday morning to you, to everyone. Thanks for checking me out, and a special good morning to my subscribers. I know it's been a while, a little over a month since I've posted a video. It's because I was waiting to see if the elder that I had met and actually known from my childhood ever showed up at my door. They're literally still in my driveway. I can see them. Okay, they're gone. So we had about a 45-minute-hour discussion. He recognized me from my childhood. He said, I went and had breakfast with your mother, and brought up a lot of those old things. And of course, on the inside, I was freaking out. I was very nervous. I was very, just wanted to scream at him, but I didn't. I kept my composure, and I was very, very, very mild-mannered, very meek. Everything a little Jehovah's Witness boy would be to an elder. Also making extremely strong and valid points about things that he couldn't argue or defend, which made him very mad. And at one point in my house, he was actually standing at my kitchen table above me, yelling at me. It was incredible. I recorded the audio, or at least I thought I did. There's been a problem. I didn't catch it. I'm super bummed about it because it would have been perfect to have, and whatnot. So I'm super sorry for that. There's nothing I can do. I wasn't prepared for it. I will work on that in the future. So let's talk about the discussion we had. He wanted to know my last name very, very early on. Of course, I invited him in. And at first he said no, he was with another brother who I don't know who he was, couldn't get up my step. And I said, I'll help you. So I walked outside and helped the elderly brother up my steps and into my home where we could sit at the table. And the original premise is the Bible doesn't have any contradictions. And now, regardless of what you believe scripturally, whether it be you're an atheist, you're a Christian, or whatever, this channel is not designed to trample on your beliefs, and I will not do so. My point was that the Bible does have contradictions in it, and so that's the premise, to get him over to my house. So we started to discuss about that. He very quickly wanted to change that subject into we need to do a Bible study, and I asked him, okay, what would we be studying? And very quickly found out that it wasn't going to be the Bible. And so I steered the conversation back towards the Bible and asked him why his version of the Bible, which is the New World Translation, why they've taken things out. And he says, well, we as Jehovah's Witnesses have the most accurate translation of any Bible, anywhere, period. And I said, that's a very broad claim. Do you believe that Jesus is the Son of God? Or something along those lines. I don't remember exactly. And he said, well, absolutely. Most religions say that there's a Trinity. Most religions say that there's this or there's that. And it went on for 5 or 10 minutes. And I waited patiently for him to shut up. And then I said, well, okay, let's look at Acts 8 verses 37. I had found in another video, I don't remember his name. I'll try to give credit to him if I see it. That's actually been deleted in the New World Translation. Completely deleted. I don't know why. It just has just a slash. That's it. Totally taken out. He would not turn to that scripture, and he would not acknowledge that at all. I can only surmise that he knew that it was going to go down a road that he didn't want to go down, so he tried to steer the conversation to something else. And then he wanted to talk about how horrible I was for being in the military. He asked for my last name. I told him, and then he immediately said, well, I had lunch with your mother last week, and this and that, and you wouldn't really talk about my dad at all. Not at all. And he wanted to know how my brothers and sisters were. And looking back, I can only imagine that it was to ascertain whether or not that I was who he thought I was. So I went through the list of my brothers and sisters, some who have limited contact with me, of course, and some who don't have contact with me at all, unfortunately, which sucks. And if you're one of my brothers or sisters and you come across this, give me a call. You guys know how to get a hold of me. I'd love to talk to you. I don't hate you at all. Give me a call. But anyway, so he went on and on about all this other kind of things. And I thought it was funny when I remained extremely calm, extremely I kept my oratorical prowess with him in talking about things that to me didn't make sense. Why is your version of the Bible right versus other versions of the Bible? Why is your brand of Christianity right when there's over 30,000 denominations? How do you know that you have it right? He immediately went to the Trinity doctrine, which can excuse 20,000 or so, I don't know, and pointed out all these different things. And then he immediately went into the blood teaching, the blood doctrine. I didn't get the opportunity to ask him about blood fractions. He had asked if I remembered my childhood and all this kind of things, and I said not really. It's kind of a phase due to deployments and stuff. I chalked that up to honestly being scared. I was scared, so I said I don't really remember you, which was an outright fallacy. So I apologize for that. But it was just one of those things where he continued to try to beat me down. He had tried to intimidate me, and I refused to get intimidated in my own home. No, I was nervous. And I was concerned. I don't know why. I think I was reverting back to an earlier childhood state. And it was very, very clear to me when he stood up and raised his voice that he really wanted to ascertain his authority. In which I politely told him that, you are basing your entire life on a translation of the Bible that you are unwilling to verify through an outside source. And you're unwilling to look at basic facts about your own organization and your own church. I keep referring to it as a church to try to insinuate that I truly didn't remember who he was. It seemed to work okay. And he got to the point where he was irate. Now the other elderly brother who was sitting to the left, I was at the head of the table, and then they were sitting two by. I never really said anything. We had a little bit of a chat once we got to the door, and Jesse Mowry, that's the gentleman's name, from Gregory, Michigan, went back to the car and just kind of left this elderly gentleman there on the porch. And so I very politely helped him down. I said, we wouldn't want to lose. He said I don't want to fall and bleed all over your porch. I said I know we wouldn't want anything like that to happen because we know from your belief system we can't put any of it back. So I thought that was comical. That he chuckled a little bit, and he tried to say a couple things before he left. Remember, you've been told, you've been warned. It almost sounded like he was saying, "You've been warned. I don't want to hear you complain later." So earlier in the conversation, I had asked when is this going to come to fruition? So I think they picked up very early on that I knew at least my basic history from the Jehovah's Witness organization and all this. And they really wouldn't discuss any kind of timeline because, of course, very simply, I would have gone into, the failed prophecies over and over and over again from the Watchtower. So they did not go down that road at all. And again, I wanted to be very engaging and very non-confrontational. So I sat back a lot, and I tried to just present facts. I Googled on my phone very quickly the flag in the window of the Kingdom Hall, and he's like, well, that's a doctored photo, or this or that. And I said, well, it's not, because 30 or 40 different websites have it. He's like, I'm going to stop you right there. If it didn't come from jw.org, then it can't be verified. And I said, well, so you're going to take all of your information. Think about this. You're literally taking all of the information you get from one source and one source only. That in any realm is very, very dangerous and very closed-minded, if you will. So we had a discussion. He was very irate. He brought up a couple of different things from my childhood that were very embarrassing, or could be. And he said it loudly so that my wife could hear it. I thought it was ridiculous that he was trying to embarrass me in my own home in front of my wife, trying to say, you're wrong about this, or you messed up here. We took your privileges away for that. All things my wife and I have discussed, and she knows very well, just as well as all of you, my story. So I thought it was comical, but I thought it was ridiculous that he literally stood up and is yelling at me, at my own kitchen table. I mean, that's just ridiculous. That goes to show the desperation that these people are reaching. and whatnot. So anyway, I wanted to keep it brief. I don't think they'll be coming back. So what I am going to do now, that my address here in my local congregation where I grew up has been outed, is I'm going to go out where they meet and congregate, and I'm going to start being more persistent, and I'm going to become a little bit of a nuisance, if you will. So if there's anything you guys want to see, post in the comments for me. Let me know. Different topics you want me to bring up. I tried to bring up a lot of the things that you guys have suggested. Thank you so much for that. And they would not engage. They would not talk about it. And it's very hard to have somebody see your point of view when they are unwilling to acknowledge basic facts and basic Google searches on the stuff. So that was very disappointing. But my point did get across, I think, a little bit. And I had used my analogy that I like, that I have come up with. I said, you're basing your entire life on an ancient textbook that has been translated to a version that you cannot verify or are unwilling to verify. And you're basing your entire life on one very narrow path. And of course he said, well, this is what God told us to do. I said, okay. I said, but you're rolling the dice and you're gambling with the only existence that you know you have for one that you don't know. You may or may not have. So I'll sign off with that, and let me know what you guys want to see next. Thank you so much. I will start getting these videos out weekly to you guys. I want to do something every week. So the first one was a bust. Sorry about that. We're going to keep doing it. We're going to keep going out there. Let me know what you want to see in the comments. Thank you guys so much for sticking around. Have a great Saturday. I will see you next week. See you later.